Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm speaking first because I certainly wouldn't want to follow Adrian. Thank God he's last, so we'll build up to him. But being inducted to Sports Hall of Fame is really a wonderful honor, and I'm extremely proud of it. I have no idea who nominated me. Perhaps they're in the room. I really would like to thank them for doing that. It's really wonderful. Bristol really has had a profound influence on my life, athletic career and coaching career. It's a fantastic sports town. My wife and kids are sick of the stories about Bristol sports and how great Bristol was, but it really was. So I just wanted to, there's a few things in my career, my life that really stood out that I just wanted to mention. And a lot of them tie into fellow Hall of Fame members. The McCabe Waters Cardinals Little League team that I played on, 40-0 over 2 seasons, our 11, 12-year-old year. Callie Granger was a member of that team, who's also a Hall of Fame member. The Forestville Little League team, we lost to them in I think it was the quarterfinals of the district. Joey Jandro hit 2 epic home runs against me. I was pitching that game over the trees. They took me out. They put Kip Miller in, who threw nothing but curveballs, and they no-hit him the rest of the game. But you know, Joey sealed my fate there. But the 1974 Legion team, a little before my time, but one of my neighbors was Walt Freitag. I believe that team went to the World Series, and I used to go to a lot of games because I was friends with Walt, and that was very memorable for me. The Bristol Red Sox teams of the 1970s, who can forget those? You know, seeing Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, Butch Hobson play. I still remember seeing Jim Rice hit a home run. It was rising when it went over the pine trees, and I think it still may be traveling. I was fortunate enough to be at Bristol Central in '79 when the basketball team, Bruce Kaczynski and Gary Pearson. I was very fortunate enough to play with Gary Pearson in college too. Fantastic running back. He never practiced. He'd you know, Friday walkthrough, he'd practice, and then he'd play on Saturday and gain a couple hundred yards. The 1980 Bristol Central football team that I was a sophomore on, we went to the state championship game and lost to Darien. That was very memorable. The 1982 Legion team, which I was fortunate enough to play with Joey Jandro again and my good friend Jim Danis, undefeated during the regular season. I think Tommy Burns coached that, actually. And we undefeated during the regular season. Regrettably, we lost in the playoffs. But and then there's some people who really influenced my career. I'm going to go way back. Ken Zatarsky, he was my Little League coach at McCabe Waters. We used to practice 2-3 days a week. We'd have a couple games, so we were playing baseball 4 or 5 days a week. And that really stayed with me because it was just what it took to be a winning team and to get better, and the dedication really stayed with me. Mel Buchanan, Daryl's here. Mel coached my Pony League team. Great guy. Really loved playing for Mel. I was very good friends with Gary and Daryl. Don Titus, who I saw tonight, I was very surprised to see Don. Don has to be one of the best baseball people I've ever met. My fond memory of him is he had all these gadgets. He'd bring this bag of tricks with him, teach us how to catch, how to hit, how to swing the bat, et cetera, et cetera. I actually am an assistant varsity baseball coach now, and I'm very fortunate to coach with a guy who has the same bag. And it just really brings me back to Don all the time, and it's wonderful. Tom Bruni, my high school football coach. Tough, hard-nosed guy, but really taught me work ethic and what it took to be a college football player. Bob DeSantis, who was my line coach my sophomore and junior year, he was a tough coach. And you walk off the field, you hate him. But, oh, you're here. But you walk off the field, practice field, you hate him. But 6 months later, you look back and you say, God, he was a good coach. He taught me what it took to really do it. So I really appreciate that. You know, the one thing I took away from all these coaches was respect for the game, hard work, and not taking shortcuts. I think if you do that, the results will speak for themselves. I've tried to carry that trait forward as I coach my son's teams and other teams. And the parents usually thought I was crazy because like Ken Zatarsky, we'd practice 2-3 times a week and play a couple games. So, it was a 5-6 day commitment, but it worked out. I also would like to thank my mother and father, who are not here with us anymore, for taking me to the games, supporting me, making sure I had the best equipment all the time. I'd like to thank my brothers and sisters. My brothers are here tonight, for always supporting me and being with me. And then lastly, my wife and kids. Regrettably, my kids can't be here. My son's got a football game tomorrow against NC State. My daughter plays for Brown, and she's got a game against Cal on Sunday, so they couldn't make it here. But for putting up with the nonstop practice, the batting cage in the front yard, the volleyball court in the backyard, summer vacations to baseball and AAU tournaments, hopefully they're fond memories for them. Thank you so much.